actually working? Okay. Okay, so we're going to work more on naming. Eventually, we will have all the naming, and then we will not have to do naming chapters anymore. Which will be glorious, right? Yeah. But for now, naming. Okay, so we have the alkenes, alkynes, cycloalkenes, and cycloalkynes. These are going to be molecules with one carbon-carbon double bond or triple bond. The carbon-carbon double and triple bond functional groups are going to have higher priority than any of the substituents that we've encountered in Interchapter A. And so these ones will take priority in terms of their naming. I.e., that's why we were doing things like alkane was going to cycloalkane right off the bat. Okay? So we're going to replace the ane suffix, the ending of the parent, ane, with ene if it's a double bond, ine if it's a triple bond. Can everybody say it with me? Ene. Yeah, okay, everybody with me. Ready? Ene. Really stress E. Een. Ein. Good. Yeah, it's this is actually kind of a tough thing that's not fair. But like Southern accents, the more Southern your accent is, the E and Ein sounds typically merge together, right? And are less pronounced. And so when you go to like a grad school or something, it's something you're going to have to work through. Okay? And I would record myself doing these if you're planning on going into any grad school. Like if you're going into a medical school, I'd highly recommend you actually record and fix your way of saying the different parts and species, etc. that you're going to have to say. If you're going to do that for grad school, you may actually want to do that, because what's the first thing people typically judge you on? The way you look, and then after that, the way you speak. And it isn't until like days into knowing people that you actually get anything else, right? And by then, opportunities can disappear. Okay? It sucks. It's not fair. It is the world. Yeah. So, by the way, there's a lot of accents that this is not an issue and are like much more accepted. Yeah. So anyways. So this right here, again, we see some different roots. So how did we get the root of the word again? Longest chain, exactly. And so the next part of that is the longest chain has a double bond on it. And so the suffix, last part of that chain, changes from ane to een. Exactly. Thank you for doing it with me. It really is it's a good thing to practice. And here we have a cyclic one, right? And so again, we'd look at the longest chain. It's cyclic in this case. And so we do the cyclic double bond. And that would be cyclobutene. That's the largest carbon ring. This one right here, the longest chain is a hex. It would normally be hexane, but it has triple bond, so it is hexine. Yeah. I know. It tricks you up, doesn't it? Because Y's oftentimes make E sounds, don't they? And there are some, I did over-exaggerate it for you. You don't have to exaggerate that much. There are accents that can make easily recognizable different sounds for the een versus ein, that they don't have to stress it. But typically most Midwestern and Southern accents you do. You don't make convincingly different sounds. Okay, so for a chain, we're going to again assign the C1 to the end with the double bond or triple bond that we encounter it earliest. We're going to minimize that number. This is going to take priority over our substituents that we talked about before, because this is actually going to get incorporated into the parent name. Okay? So for a ring, we're going to assign the two carbon atoms for the double or triple bond to the C1 and C2 positions. So that will automatically lock you into the direction you're counting. Okay? C1, C2. And then you have to count off this way now. Okay? Okay. So here's the IUPAC directions to do this. We're going to write the root name. For an acyclic alkene or alkyne, identify the lower of the two location numbers for the double or triple bond. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to insert that before the suffix. Okay? There is an old IUPAC and new IUPAC, just to let you know. And I'll give you the examples in just a bit, okay? Okay, so again, always use the hyphens to separate numbers from letters. For the cycloalkene or cycloalkyne, the locator number is going to be, well, typically you don't need to include it if you don't have anything else, because it automatically has to be 1 and 2. And the different spots on a ring are not different. So, but if you have to include it, then you number the bonds that are that double bond, the carbons in the double bond 1 and 2. Okay? Which direction you number that will depend on the substituent from there. We'll have some examples. Then you're going to add prefixes like you normally would have done. We just extended out rule 1, right? Okay. So this right here is an example we're going to work on. So let's write the IUPAC name for the molecule shown here. So the first thing we have to do is find our root, count the parent, right? Okay. Find the longest carbon chain. And so we go ahead and work on finding the longest chain. Go ahead and start working on it. 6. Sounds right. Okay. Okay, so what direction do we count? Yeah, so this part's going to be in there, right? Okay. So there's 2 different directions we could go, right? 1, 2, 3. This would be 4. If we went this way, that'd be 5 and 6, right? If we went this way, it'd also be 5 and 6. Okay. Now, this has higher priority than most other groups that we've talked about so far. And so we're going to go ahead and go that direction so we can include it in the highest priority part, which is the parent, right? Or the root. Okay? Okay. And so we're going to count that. That's 6. That's what for the naming? Yeah, normally hexane, right? Now, in this case, it's not going to be hexane. It's going to be hexene. Very good. And that denotes the double bond. Now, in this case, we actually do need to number that double bond, don't we? Okay. And so how are we going to represent that numbering? We're going to count that off and give our lowest number to that ene group, right? To that double bond. Okay. And so we go 1, 2, 3. Everybody good with that so far? Okay, now if I was walking along and I was walking along a neighborhood and on one side there's a big mansion, on the other side there's like smaller houses, okay? Do I give the mansion like 3 addresses to correspond to the smaller houses on the other side? No. And same thing here, right? This takes up 2 positions, doesn't it? But I don't need both positions to know where this is. I just need to tell where it starts, don't I? Because it has to end on the next one. I don't need that information, do I? And so what I can do here is I just put down that it starts at 2, right? So the position for that double bond is 2. Okay, that's the locator. And what I'm going to do here is, you guys can't actually see that because my box went down over below that. Okay. I'm going to actually take that. It's going to be hex, right? Just like the hexane or ene would be. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to insert a locator. It's on the 2nd position. And then I'm going to put what it is. Ene, right? Admittedly, I absolutely hate how this new IUPAC formatting works. Okay? Anybody want to see the old IUPAC formatting? Yeah, you just put the number in front. Yeah. This is the correct way now. Use that way. It's terrible to say it. Hex to een. Yeah. It just hurts, right? It's like painful to do. The other way would have been 2 hexene, which is so much easier to say, right? But whatever. Now you know why, like, my advisor was like, fuck the IUPAC. I predate them. I'm not going to do their garbage.
There was like 2 double bonds would be like hex to dying.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it. And that's actually, that's what dienes actually mean in trienes. That they have 2 double bonds and 3 double bonds. And you may have actually heard those because some fats are like that. And so sometimes we refer to them as like diene fats. Yeah. That's where that came from. But you're exactly right. Yeah. And yes, you would put the numbers in here, like 2, 4, diene. Yep, that's exactly correct. So in this case, we're going to go and do the remaining prefixes, right, where we look at the substituents. In this case, we have 2 chlorines, and so that is dichloro. They're both on the same position, which is 4,4, right? And we also have this right here, and this right here is a complex one, isn't it? Yeah. And so we need to put those inside of parentheses, and that would be methyl ethyl, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Would you need to include the 1 in front of the methyl ethyl? Or is it implied that it is on?
Oh, yes, you would.
You would?
Yeah, because you are right, actually. It definitely isn't. You couldn't actually do it the other way. Like if you were to put this on the second position, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But this is one of those places where, yeah, you are right that it really should not be necessary, right?
But we should do it anyway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's the correct IUPAC way. Yeah. Yeah. It's common IUPAC oversight, ain't it? Yeah. But no, you're exactly right. Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. But the rules say. Were you raising your hand back there? No? Okay. I thought I saw somebody. Anyways. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. I imagine, so just know that yes, the IUPAC naming has these rules. Yes, I'm trying to teach you these rules, but there are places, the IUPAC naming, if you start looking these molecules up for the safety information, you may have already seen this, that has like several different IUPAC names. The IUPAC naming still is not perfect. Okay? There are several cases where you can have, the rules could give you 2 different names. And yeah, like if you said that, parentheses methyl ethyl, people would get it. And that's the most important part, right? Yeah. And it wouldn't have any other structure that would go with that. So, molecules with multiple double or triple bonds, and you actually got ahead and figured this out right off the bat. Awesome. So again, you're going to establish your numbering system for your chain or ring. The first double or triple bond should be counted the earliest. If there's a tie, then the next double or triple bond should be counted the earliest you can. Locate each double or triple bond. For each pair of a double or triple bond atoms, write the number of the 2 locator numbers. So for example, here we have 2 different ones. We would put the first number 1, see that's 1 down there, and then a comma, and then the next lowest number 4. Everybody see it okay? Fantastic. And yes, exactly, that is diene. 2 double bonds diene. Okay? And so we'll modify the suffix with the di, tri, etc. that we had done for the previous ones. It's fairly rare to get up to tri and still be trying to name the thing. But, yes. Anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay, fantastic. Yep, and right there's the triple bond version. And that one's a triene, right? Okay. And yes, it does sound weird. Okay, so we're going to write out the IUPAC name for the molecule right here. Okay, everybody go ahead and start. And then we're going to go to the next one. While you're doing this, go ahead and take out your plicker as well, because I'll do attendance when we're done with this one. And we'll just do the plicker as attendance today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on it. First thing we do is find the longest chain, right? And that's 7 carbons. And that would be your longest chain that includes the double bonds, right? Okay. Note that you could actually make a longer chain by going this direction, couldn't you? Okay. Yeah. But the double and triple bonds will take priority in this case. Okay, so now, the next part we're going to do is 7 carbons. That's what? Yep. Yeah, normally be heptane. Note that because you couldn't... now, this is a funny thing. It's the old rules have actually stayed for some things that they don't really need to. And so, back in the old rules, you have to leave the A if you're going to have a non-vowel next, right? Because you couldn't say heptatrine. Like they don't combine, right? You can't put the 2 T's next to each other. There really isn't a reason to do that anymore. They have a number in between. Like you can do that now. Hept 1,3,5 triene. But whatever. So you do, if you have 2 non-vowels come together, have to leave the A from the ane. Okay? And that's the proper way of doing it. Somebody didn't really think that one through when they did the rules. But, and that's because you could say heptatriene, right? Yeah. Anyways, so we have 7 carbons. That's hept. We're going to leave it as hepta because the next part is going to have a tri because there's 3 of the double bonds, right? And that'll be triene. We're going to number those off, so there are 1, 3, and 5. Everybody see those okay? For the 1, 3, and 5? Fantastic. Okay, and so the next part, once we have our parent, is we need to get our prefixes, right? And again, work on these things step by step. Don't try to get the whole thing right off the bat, because you're just going to mess yourself up, right? Okay, so now I have that written down. I don't have to bother with that anymore. I can just go through and do the rest, okay? I have right over here, let's see. I have a 3 carbon chain right there, don't I? Okay, 3 carbons. Propyl, yep. And it's attachment, substituent, so we end it with YL. So that's a propyl group. And the numbering, the locator for that is 3. Exactly. So it'll be on the 3rd position, 3 propyl. We look here, that's a nitro, right? It's on the 6th position, so it's going to be a 6-nitro whenever I add it in. Okay? And over here we have an ethyl, don't we? Okay. And it's on the 2nd position, and so that will be a 2-ethyl whenever I put that in. Now, I need to organize these by their alphabetical order, don't I? And so E comes first, N comes next, P comes last of those 3 things. And so I go ahead and do that. I don't have to do, there's only one of each, isn't there? So I don't have to do di, tri, or any of that. I'm good with that part. Okay. And so I just now arrange it. I take my 2-ethyl, I write that out, dash, 6 nitro, I write that out, dash 3 propyl, and then I finish with my parent, hepta dash 135 dash triene. Is that making sense? Okay. Honestly speaking, it's much easier to just generate the pieces first and then assemble at the end. Just concentrate on these problems, generating the pieces first, and then assembling it at the end, okay? Practice will definitely make perfect. If you're still having trouble after practicing it a few times, please let me know, okay? People have been knocking the practice out of the park, though, so.
With the chain, I know you said the double bonds have priority.
They do.
Does that always mean you're starting with that?
Yeah, if you can, if it's something you could start on, yeah, you'll start on them. Yeah, because the 1 position here is preferred for the first double bond if you can. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I first started, I had the 8.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really stress that on the first one.
So what happens if you have both a double and a triple bond in the same molecule?
The one that has more of them typically takes priority, and then it would be the triple bond would take priority over the double bond.
Right.
And the double bond can actually be done as a substituent. The triple and double bonds both can. Okay, and I'll get to those in just a bit. Yeah. Okay. So, good job going forward. So again, you're going to establish your root. Now you can establish your root if you have a double and triple bond with in-ein. Okay, that is a root that you can use. So in this case, because we have both a double and triple bond, we would go in-ein. Everybody want to try it with me? In-ein. Yeah. My goodness. It's like a exercise routine for your tongue, right? Okay. Now, we'll then establish our numbering. So typically, these are given equal priority unless there's a tie between the two numbering systems. And then you'd give priority to the double bond. Ooh, did I say double bond before? I might have, yeah. Okay. Anyways, double bond is the correct one. I was going dyslexia on myself. And, yeah, I swapped them around. Yeah.
Is the double bond prioritized because E and
Yeah,
plus
it is.
or Y and
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It is that stupid of a reason, and it really is. Right? Somebody really liked English rules, right? Yeah. So anyways, so we add the locator numbers between, again, immediately before the een for the eens, immediately before the eins for the eins. Okay? So if we have multiple double and triple bonds, we'll add the letter A immediately before your corresponding locator numbers. Again, that's because of the old way you used to say it. You couldn't say it like the diene, triene, without having an A to combine them in. Like if you hept triene, you couldn't do it without the A. But yeah, you do add the A. That's going to be right before the corresponding locator number. And again, you'll have your multiplier prefix that you'll add before those. And so these are examples. Honestly, examples are the best way to learn it, just like any language, right? Yeah. Practice the language, immerse yourself in it. Okay? Okay, so hex 1 een for ein. Everybody say okay? And we prioritize this, and we actually started with that. This right here, hex 4 een, and then 1 ein here. And again, we prioritize that double bond, didn't we? Okay.
So the second one's wrong.
The second one actually should. Yeah, you're right. It is wrong. Yeah, that's funny. I took these directly from the book too. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't even. No, you're right.
so it
This one is wrong. Yeah.
So is it supposed to be that the E is 2 E? Is that what
Yeah, we should have given it this priority, right?
But aren't they equal priority? When there's the same number of them?
Yes. They're equal priority between them and period. Oh, yeah.
So would you start with the triple bond just because it's first?
Yes, that would give the lowest total numbers, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, and the 5 also. Yeah.
So it's correct.
Yeah, it is correct. It's correct.
So just so that way it's
Yeah.
the number is lower.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, it's lower number, equal priority unless they're tie. Yeah, I need to stop trying to write like that because I can't see what I'm looking at. Or get a screen with a wider range, right? One of the two. This should add a better range.
Does add an A, letter A, meaning before the corresponding locator numbers?
You don't have to in this case because you don't have a die
Oh.
or a try or something. Yeah. So this one is a case where you actually do have to add the A, okay? And yeah, I'll do that right after this to do. And so this one you have to add the A because the diene's right there. Yeah. And that's purely because it's a holdover from the old way of doing it, because you wouldn't have been able to say in English a TD sound. That it's not possible to do because your tongue and lips are not arranged in the correct orientation. Yeah. That makes sense.
Still logical under their naming rules.
Yeah, it's yeah, it just adds an extra rule that you have to remember. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and take attendance real quick, and then I'll move on to the next one. Okay. Okay. You can just do A, yeah. Yeah, it's purely for attendance. Okay. that didn't do A, though, for some reason. Yeah. Okay. You got it? All right. And so the answer was A. Okay. Which kind of worked with what we ended with, right? Because we ended with A has become before the dying. Oh my goodness. Okay, so your Lewis structure for your benzenes are going to be the C6H6. Everybody recognize benzene, okay? Okay. Again, this is going to consist of 3 triple bonds. So you're going to alternate 3 single bonds in a 6-membered ring. The pi electrons that are delocalized around the ring are like so. Notice that it really kind of messes with your numbering, doesn't it? So depending on which of these rings you looked at, it actually changed numbering slightly, wouldn't it? Okay. Just remember in these cases that these aromatic compounds are a combination of these structures, right? And so oftentimes it is easier to represent them as so, and you would just number them based on whatever gives you the lowest substituents, okay? Because all the positions are actually the same on this, isn't it? Yeah. There isn't actually a difference in the positions, okay? Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish our benzene root. The groups that are attached to the benzene ring are going to be treated as your substituents. We're then going to establish the numbering system of the ring, giving the lowest locator number to the successive substituent. Add prefixes and locator numbers. Again, we're going to account for the number, type, and location for each of the substituents when we're doing this. So let's practice it. Okay. What's our parent? Yeah, benzene. We don't have to break it down any more than that. We can call that benzene, okay? And in this case, do we go and try to figure out 1, 2 here? Or 1, 2, and oh my goodness, double bond. Which one do I choose for double bonds? No, just treat that ring. It's benzene. Okay? Those double bonds, they're moving back and forth anyways, right? Okay. And so what do I base my numbering on from here? Yeah, locator numbers for my prefixes, right?
Yeah, whatever will give the substituents the lowest locator.
Exactly. Your lowest locator number for your substituents, right? Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and do that now. And what would give my lowest numbers for my substituents? Well, we have two substituents right next to each other, so we probably want to label those as 1 and 2, right? Okay. Okay, and by the way, if I went this direction, would that change things at all? Yeah, that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that would be 5, wouldn't it? Yeah. So we're going this direction so we can give the lowest possible locator numbers for each, right? Okay. And so again, we go ahead and assemble everything individually. Benzene, I don't have to put any numbers for benzene because benzene is just benzene. I then do my substituents. The chloro is on position 1, nitro on position 2, right? And then this last one is ethyl. That's on the position 4. Okay. I now assemble that, and it's based on the alphabetical order, isn't it? C comes first, E comes next, N comes last, right? Okay. No? What's wrong? Nothing? Okay. Yeah. Practice is going to be your best bet, honestly. It's a language. Practice. Okay. And so we combine all that together. We get 1 chloro, 4 ethyl, 2 nitro, benzene. Okay.
So why couldn't we go the other way? 'Cause it wouldn't be-
This would give us a 5 here.
But wouldn't you start with the 4?
What do you mean?
Like, would it go 1, 2, 3,
Start here, 1.
4? I think we can do that.
Yeah, so the way it's going right now.
Like, this would be 1, 2, 3, and this 4.
Yep. And then this would be 5.
Okay, I started like there.
So that would give you, you're trying to minimize the numbers on each of these substituents.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I was able to.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's the big difference between the rest of the Eins. And we don't have to worry about anything else. It's funny that the more complexity it gets, the easier it gets, right? Chemistry?
That's what's wrong with chemistry system. I just don't like it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, 90% of my classes are chemistry classes, so I'm kind of happy.
Is on 1, 2, and 3, right?
No, it's all the way through.
It's through.
Yep.
3 and B.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that practice exam a lot.
Sounds good.
For cooking thing, I know a topic, but I'm trying to find a partner for it. Like, what would I find the one that fits into the category?
So what I do is just any of the people that need to do a colloquium that you know, see if there's anybody you want to work with, okay?
Alright.
You don't actually have to have a partner, but yeah. So I haven't had anybody come to me that didn't have our partner yet. If I do all.
Yeah, I'm usually the loner person, but I'll try to find a partner during lab.
Okay, best of luck, okay? Maybe we can make an announcement or something. Anybody looking for a partner? Email me if you want me to make an announcement, okay?
So I know you said on the test we can use our notes.
You can.
So I write my notes on my iPad. Is that allowed, or do I need to put them into a notebook? Or could we print off the notes?
Printing them would be probably your best bet.
Okay, so no iPad on the
I would
exam.
very much recommend not.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
No problem.
Thank you.
That way I don't have to constantly be over your shoulder. Internet.
We decided on which article we want to do the
Oh.
colloquium on.
Fantastic.
It ended up being neither the zombie cells or the algae. It was
No.
the